Belinda and Harper Audio Australia present this unabridged recording of How to Be Second Best, written by Jessica Dettmann and read by Michala Banas. For my mother Carol and my grandmother Mims, two of a kind and two of the kindest. Chapter 1. I'm in the kitchen making tea for my husband's current wife. He's my ex-husband, not my husband. Wonder if I'll ever get used to calling him that. His wife's name is Helen, and she's very particular about her tea. No bags, no caffeine, the water slightly off the boil. Not really resembling tea in any way. Helen's very comfortable in my kitchen. She's draped her leggy frame all over one of the mismatched wooden chairs, and she's absent-mindedly running her hands through her smooth, gently waved blonde hair. "Have you got something with dandelion?" she asks. "It's amazing for bloating." She pats her flat belly. Instinctively, I glance down and tighten what remains of my own stomach muscles. It's disheartening how little effect that has these days. I start taking everything out of the pantry, stacking boxes and packets on the counter, pretty sure that somewhere in there is a box of what appear to be dried lawn clippings. I find it. Lactation tea, the label says, but that's surely rubbish. I brew a pot of sticks and leaves. It smells like what happens when you get too enthusiastic at the fruit and vegetable shop and it all turns into brown soup in the crisper. Helen waits calmly. Calm is her default mode. Her hands now folded and resting on an alarmingly thick document she's prepared for me. It's all about how I am to care for her daughter while she and my husband, who's now her husband, are in Ubud next week, having massages and aha moments and sex. It's kind of her to be so thorough. I mean, if we didn't have daughters the same age, I might not know what it takes to keep a 3-year-old alive. Yes, that's correct. Our daughters are the same age. They're half-sisters born 3 weeks apart. Helen's daughter, Lola, came first. I didn't know about her until after my daughter, Freya, was born. In movies, a woman often finds out her husband has been unfaithful when he calls her by the wrong name in bed. I discovered it when my husband called our baby the wrong name. I was lying on the sofa, the first evening home from the hospital. Tim, our 3-year-old son, was asleep in his bed. Before me on the coffee table was a plate of runny brie with crackers and a glass of wine I didn't really feel like drinking. Troy had several hundred pieces of the new double stroller laid out carefully on the carpet, and he was poring over the instruction manual. Freya wasn't feeding as easily as her big brother had. As I wrestled my nipple into her tiny shrieking mouth, her father reached over and stroked her little soft head. His eyes were still on the page explaining how to adjust the height of the pram's handle. He wasn't even remotely up to the point of adjusting the pram's handle. "There you go, little one," he said. "Have a big drink. That's right, Lola, darling." "Lola?" I said. "Who's Lola?" Lola, as anyone knows, is a showgirl's name. Lola is a sociopath in a children's book and TV series, sister of Charlie, one of the great long-suffering brothers of literature. People called Lola hang out in bars where the champagne tastes like cherry cola. Lola hadn't ever been on our list of potential baby names. Troy might have got away with it too, explained it as a slip of the very tired tongue, except he was so exhausted, what with being the proud and terrified father of 2 newborns living 1 suburb apart, that the strain of the lie was too much. If he hadn't also been trying to assemble a double stroller at the time, a task that could undo just about anyone, he might have had the wherewithal to keep his mouth shut. But, as it was, he just sat there on our living room floor, surrounded by small plastic bags containing seemingly identical but actually distinct and crucial bits of dark grey plastic, and told me everything. When he'd gone out that afternoon to buy milk and bread with 5-day-old Freya in the baby Bjorn, he'd actually taken her to meet her 3-week-old big sister. That's why he'd forgotten the milk and bread. For a long time afterwards, the part of this that I couldn't stop thinking about, the part that made my heart feel as if bits of it were peeling off like flakes of rust, was the idea of him walking up our street, past the cafe where we bought our coffee every day and our breakfast every Saturday, past the bakery, the chemist, the bottle shop and the news agency, through our life and out the other side of the suburb to his other life. Afterwards, I did wonder if he'd taken Lola for the same walk when she'd come home from hospital.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?